Hello and welcome to 101 with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett. I'm Lorna Virgili and thank you for joining us. Hello, Mr. Leggett. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
This is our first sit-down interview of 2014.
That's correct. We're now into the Lunar New Year now. So.
That is correct. That is
the
correct.
Asian Lunar New Year. Yeah.
Celebrations just happening.
Yeah.
So how was the end of 2013 for you?
It was pretty busy, getting the capital budget in place, making certain that we cover all the bases for the many challenges that we face, and to come up with a budget that I think is balanced and prioritized in the right way to respect our emphasis toward education.
So yeah, that was one of the first things that got done here in the county in mid-January, and obviously it is a $4.49 billion capital budget for FY15 through 20. And you mentioned schools, over a 25% increase from the previous CIP. Why?
Well, if you notice, we are growing rapidly in Montgomery County in terms of our school population. We are growing at the rate of about 2,000 students per year. That's equivalent to a new high school every year. And we've done that for like the last 4 or 5 years. And that growth is expected to continue for a considerable period of time. And we have provided over the years somewhere in the neighborhood of a 36% increase overall in school construction. But even that, standing by itself, is insufficient to deal with the huge increase that we are experiencing. So we're looking to increase the amount that we are providing locally and to get additional support at the state level so that over the next 4 or 5 years, we'll be in a much better position to anticipate and have those students in classes and in a space that is adequate for that size that we anticipate over the next few years.
When, of course, there is the need for new school construction and modernizing some of the existing schools, where are your priorities when it comes to particular schools within the county?
Well, let me go back 1 minute, because this is not just something in Montgomery County, challenges the CIP for schools. Many other jurisdictions around the state are experiencing similar problems. In Montgomery County, we have a particular interest in capacity building, that is, more space in the schools. In addition to that, we also have ongoing maintenance challenges. So we've formed some of a pact between Montgomery County, Baltimore County, Prince George's County. They have challenges both with enrollment surges as well as with maintenance, and probably their challenge is more with maintenance as opposed to Montgomery County. But we have a combination in Montgomery County, but a huge increase in population. So it's that push together, united in an effort to try to get the General Assembly to in fact respond more favorably to this challenge over the next 4 or 5 years.
So when you say that school enrollment population growth approximately by one school every year, one high school actually every year, does that mean that the county needs to build an average of a school per year?
Well, it doesn't hit the high school per year, just given a target so people can understand what 2,000 students mean. It's scattered throughout the county, and therefore in some places you can do this with simply additions that's already planned. Other places it's just simply you would have huge overcrowding challenges. So it's disparate as it relates to different segments of the county. But overall, if you would take all of those students and put them in one place and say this is the number of students that attend the high school, it would be equivalent to an average high school in Montgomery County.
You mentioned that you yourself and the county executive for Prince George's County and the same for Baltimore have come together asking the state for assistance. As a matter of fact, the three of you were up there in Annapolis at a press event recently. What's been the feedback from the state, and is there going to be actual legislation?
I think most people recognize that there is a challenge and there is a problem that we need to solve. There's differences as to relate to how you solve that problem and what are the mechanisms to do so. But you have to keep in mind that when you deal with these challenges in Annapolis, oftentimes, as I said before, they may take a step back before they take a step forward. The big emphasis here is to make sure that they recognize the problem and that we're looking at solutions to resolve it. As you know, last year I strongly supported an increase in aid to Baltimore City because of the dire need there for huge challenges they had as it relates to maintenance in their school system. We are now looking for something in Baltimore County, Prince George's County, and Montgomery County. It does not necessarily have to be the same model. It could be a different model in a different time space, but A, we need to make certain that we are in position over the next few years to accommodate this huge growth of students in our school system.
You said recognize as a first step and taking one backwards. I say four backwards before one forward, but you're being candid. Any possibilities this year that Montgomery County and the other jurisdictions might see anything from this?
Oh, we will. I think there will be a resolution. The question is the timing of that and how and what format it comes in. But I think that once the state looked at this, recognized the real challenges that we face, and that we are prepared to step up ourselves and do a great deal of this within our local jurisdiction. If you look at Montgomery County's budget, I've increased significantly the amount of money that we're spending for education. And I've also increased the overall capacity for borrowing in Montgomery County. So we've stepped forward to say, okay, we are doing a great deal locally in order to address this problem. But we have a problem of a magnitude that's clearly beyond a reasonable attempt on a local level to deal with this. But you first have to demonstrate, again, the need, and demonstrate also, I think, concomitant with that, the fact that you are doing as much as you can locally to resolve it. And so once people come to grips with all of that, I'm reasonably certain that we'll get some relief. It may not come in the format that we want, and this is a legislative process. It is subject to some consensus building. It may come in a different format. It may come a little bit later than we anticipate, but or later than we would want. But I think that overall, we've made a very strong case that we need this support.
Well, good luck with that.
Thank you.
Let's continue talking about the capital budget and higher education. Additional funding for the construction, Montgomery College, Rockville Campus, Science West Building, Bioscience Education Center in Germantown, and Tacoma Park, a science center as well. All of science and bio. Obviously, this has to do with building that workforce in the county?
Certainly, and also the need in the county. If you look at the colleges over the last few years, there's been a huge surge in growth of the number of students enrolled. And our STEM areas are areas for which I think there's a great need. And you add to that the fact that we have a huge biotech sector in Montgomery County with large numbers of potential employers. We need to get that workforce ready for the jobs that we know will be coming as a result of the things that we put in place over the last few years. So the college is stepping forward, and we are helping to provide the resources and support that they need, because it will help the job base, which helps Montgomery County and helps the college as well.
Mr. Leggett, we need to take a short break, but we'll be right back. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett.
Montgomery County wants to thank everyone for their commitment to recycling. Together, we're recycling 57% of our waste, and we know you'll work with us to reduce waste and recycle more, 70% by 2020. To protect the environment and provide a better future for our children, we need to recycle all of our paper, cans, bottles, containers, scrap metal, and more. Because if you don't get serious about recycling at your apartment or condominium now, it's going to come back and bite us.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers to help us better care for ourselves and the ones we love.
This message brought to you by FEMA. Home fires occur most often in winter. Keep anything that can catch fire at least 3 feet from heating equipment. And never use an oven to heat your home. Stay in the kitchen when frying, grilling, or broiling food. Turn space heaters off when you leave the room or go to bed. Make sure all vents are clear of snow and ice to allow carbon monoxide to vent outside. Have your furnace, heating system, and chimneys serviced each year by a qualified professional. Learn more at www.usfa.fema.gov.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
Welcome back to 101 with Montgomery County Executive. I'm Lorna Virgili. Thank you for continuing to watch. So we're talking about the capital budget. Let's transition into transportation. The list is endless of all the roads that are up for maintenance, extensions, and so forth. You've been doing your other budget forums, which is your operational budget forums, and you've heard from some county residents about specific roads. When it comes to that particular topic, what are your feelings and which direction is the county going into?
Well, first of all, let's understand the challenge that we face. Prior to my arrival, we had not made what I consider to be the kinds of investment in roads, whether rural roads, residential roads, arterial roads. They were all underfunded considerably, and as a result of that, we had some huge problems that we had to address. Under my leadership in the county, we have provided an 80% increase on arterial roads, but on residential roads, there's a 680% increase in the funding that we provided because, again, those roads are in terrible conditions, and we have to go back and clear up that huge backlog of challenges. You add to that sidewalks, gutter repairs, and a great deal that we've done along the roadways in Montgomery County, and a huge investment. And when you consider the amount of very challenging weather that we've had, the snow, the ice, then those roads will take even an additional impact negatively as well. And so we've tried to provide at least resources to respond to that. But the real challenge has been such pent-up demand and challenges over the last few years, going back at least 10, 12 years or so, where we had no real proper response to the road challenges. That infrastructure challenge was there. I decided to do something about it. And if you go back and look over the history of this administration, we try to respond to that, and we continue that in this budget. But it's about repairs, filling the potholes, extending intersections, and doing all the fundamental things that roads need in Montgomery County in order to move forward.
When it comes to the transit corridors, it seems that the plan is in gear for 355 and the US 29 corridors only to begin with, correct?
Well, yes, we are looking very carefully at a couple of corridors because the challenge that we have here is that we have a large number of corridors that actually need and can support some form of bus rapid transit. But the good thing about bus rapid transit is that you don't have to do the entire system, which would cost a huge amount of money. You need to plan, look at a couple of the road networks and try to look at those in bits and pieces and build over a period of time. And clearly Route 29, Georgia Avenue, the 355 corridor, all areas that require a great deal of effort in order to relieve the traffic along those roads. And we want to make certain that we have a plan in place to address that. And the bus vehicle rapid transit system is one that I think is designed to help us along the way. But we're not trying to do everything at this point in time. We're trying to at least target a few areas, see how that goes, get it properly funded, evaluate it, and then move step by step into other areas of the county.
It'll be a while before I ride that bus.
Depends. Yeah.
Affordable housing, over 9,000 units acquired and built and so forth in the last few years. You do have an ambitious goal for the next few years as well. How is that going to actually be attainable?
Well, first of all, let's see how we got there. We got there because we put almost $300 million into our affordable housing programs in order to leverage that with the private sector as well as with those in the non-profit sector to come up with a network of programs and support that gets us there. It's been an ambitious program, but the decision we made some years ago to increase significantly the Housing Initiative Fund and to bond finance some of these approaches to some of the problems that we have, I think have proved to be quite beneficial. The unfortunate problem is, although we preserved or maintained or enhanced 9,000 units constructed, there's still a great deal of need that's still out there that we need to respond to because housing is a real challenge in Montgomery County, and we've tried to step up to the plate to work with the private sector, the nonprofit sector, in order for the government to be a part of the solution. And that, although we've made great progress, there's still a great deal to go. Our budget, the CIP reflects that. We will continue that effort to some degree in the operating budget as well, but I think we made a very strong case over the last few months, the last few years in fact, that we want to try to resolve the affordable housing challenges in Montgomery County.
When it comes to affordable housing, we tend to think this is for needy families most of the times. Now, as the county is moving more into the mixed-use structure in different pockets of the county, how do we make it affordable for the next generation? And right now I'm thinking my kid, once he graduates from college, I don't want him in my basement, but I'm not quite sure that he's going to be able to afford anything in Montgomery County on his own. So how do we, what are we doing in that direction? This might be a personal question. I want him out of my basement by the time he graduates.
Well, keep in mind, your kid is very smart, and I'm sure that he's going to do great in his life, and he's going to have incomes, and he's going to have the kind of lifestyle that you're going to come to want to live in his basement. So it may be the other way around.
Let's keep our fingers crossed.
But anyway, that's a problem and challenge for all young people, and what we need to do is to make certain we have an adequate supply of affordable housing, that we have jobs here that would attract the young people to want to stay here. So if you provide the jobs at salaries and at levels, and they have the ability for all housing types, because most young people don't need the same kinds of space that you have in a large home. They may be able to live in a condo, and they want something that's small, and so it's closer to transit, those kinds of things. So we need to provide that mix so that there is something affordable for all young people. But keep in mind what I said. You know, you're gonna want to live with him.
We'll see about that. I might live in South Florida where it's warm. Talking about the weather, it's been a little erratic, and obviously. How much are those expenses? What's the tab so far with the weather?
It's moving. It's moving in the wrong direction. But let me tell you though, we in this administration, for the first time I think in the history of the county, we actually program and set aside monies for snow and for ice and inclement weather. We did not have an aggressive program prior to my arrival. When I looked at one of the worst storms that we had, we were basically going totally into the reserves. We no longer do that. We may go into the reserves for this year, but we've set aside enough to at least start the approach of having monies available. But when I see snow falling these days, I see dollar signs falling out of the sky, because that's essentially what is happening. It's a huge amount. We have to get ready. In my view of our transportation department is we're going to move the snow, we're going to make it safe for people on county roads, and we're going to do everything within our power to make sure that it's safe, and we're doing it in a timely fashion.
Okay, we've got to take another short break, and we'll be right back.
Right.
Please do stay tuned. We'll be right back with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett.
There's a reason why area law enforcement are out enforcing pedestrian and traffic safety laws and preventing killer pedestrian crashes. Be alert. Be street smart.
Did you know there are more than 10,000 county government phone numbers? But there's only one number you need to remember for non-emergency calls: 311. MC 311 is Montgomery County government's online telephone information system. Need information? Have a problem or complaint? Trying to locate a county government facility? Call 311. The call center is open Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. The website is available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Ever pull into a parking lot and think, what's up with those pedestrians? Sometimes they seem so oblivious to vehicles. Park, start walking to the store, and wow, those drivers are so aggressive. They act like the lot is theirs. It's no wonder that nearly 1/3 of pedestrian collisions occur in parking lots, and a significant number cause severe injuries. Avoid becoming a statistic. Drivers, don't run over people. Pedestrians, don't get run over. It's that simple. Heads up in parking lots.
Are you sure they can recycle us, Clamshell?
Hey, Dome, we're on a new recycling postcard.
I can't wait to make a new start. Maybe I'll be a red carpet at a big premiere.
And I'll get to paint the White House.
Shh, here he comes.
Now you can recycle more plastics in Montgomery County, including #1 PET plastics such as clamshells, deli containers, trays, lids, domes, and cups.
Woohoo!
We're in!
For more information on recycling, contact the Montgomery County, Maryland Division of Solid Waste Services at 311. The wait is over. Recycle more plastics today.
Welcome back to One-on-One with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett. Thank you for being tuned in. Mr. Leggett, we've covered some of the capital budget. It's very extensive. We always recommend that you do go online to montgomerycountymd.gov and take a look at the entire budget. Now, let's talk about the FY15 operational budget, which you're working on right now. You've held 5...
Some say the budget is working on me. But
yes, like every year. You've held 5 public forums throughout the county. You've listened to the county residents. Where are you today? Because this is due March 17th.
Well, we're still working, and what we've now engaged with our departments, that we're listening to their requests for funding and to balance out each individual department and agency within the county government. I now will look at that along with the needs that citizens have expressed and what our resources are, and that as a result of all of those things working together, we'll come out with a recommendation. But again, one of the challenges that we have today is that our situation is better because of the tough decisions that we made over the last few years. We made some very tough decisions that places Montgomery County in a position now that we have the highest financial reserves in the history of the county, and our budgets are more sustainable going forward. But having said that, I am not ready to emerge from this with guns blazing and spending a great deal in ways that I don't think that long term we can afford. I'm not going to do that. We will come out of this in a gradual process. We didn't get into it overnight, and we're not going to get out of it overnight. I'm not going to do things in a hurry in order to solve our long-term challenges. So it will be a step-by-step process. So although things are rosy, I'm not looking at it as being as rosy as some of our citizens and others may want. It will be a gradual process. But the citizens have been wonderful. They've come forward and given wonderful ideas, and we've done this repeatedly. But each and every year that I go out to every segment of the county, people are very much engaged, and they come out in large numbers to express their views. And I just love this process of the dialogue. You know, we have everyone who's there, from seniors to what I call the library brigade that comes out. They were out this year in their Denver Bronco colored T-shirts, making their play and making certain that the library is not forgotten, but everything else in between. So it was a wonderful, wonderful experience.
Talking about the libraries, well, good news for that group. The reopening of the Gaithersburg Library, it was massive, the amount of people that showed up on that very cold Saturday morning. And then Olney is coming up, right?
Yes, Olney is coming up fairly quickly. The Gaithersburg Library opening was really just a wonderful, wonderful opening. It was a huge number of people who came out on a very cold Saturday morning, but it shows the demand in that area for access to libraries. But one of the things that I want to make certain that people understand, we're now looking at Silver Spring down the line that we started construction on. Olney will be opening in a couple of weeks, and we've just opened the new Gaithersburg Library. But we're not finished with that. We simply cannot have a building where we have a facility. We need to make certain that we have all the material that we need, we have the hours that are appropriate for the libraries, and that we have the staff in the libraries to assist the community. So all of those things go together. Access, material, the time the libraries are open, as well as the facility itself, and the personnel, the highly trained personnel that we have working in the libraries. And our library community does a wonderful job of getting out and making certain that the county executive, the council, and everyone else knows the importance of libraries in our community.
Let's transition a little bit about health care, exactly ACA, Affordable Care Act. Reality is that it's been a little bit challenging for people who do qualify for it to actually enroll through the state's marketplace. Mm-hmm. In other words, that website is a little bit dysfunctional. On the that's an understatement, and that's a different story. But on the county side, the county clinics have been open, 2 of them, Up County and Mid County, open on Saturdays to assist people to actually enroll. That March 31st deadline, it's approaching quite soon. What else can the county do to reach out to those that might qualify, that might be minority communities and are not very well informed as to everything that is surrounding this particular topic?
Well, first of all, people have to understand this is not an operation by the county, so the county is not responsible for.
The county's helping out.
The county, the county is literally helping the state and the federal government in this endeavor, and I think that we have provided a great deal of service. Obviously, we may need to urge the state to provide funds to double the number of people that we have so that we have more centers that are open and more people, and to do a greater job of reaching out to communities and individuals so that they could get in and try to meet that deadline. It's important for people to have health care, and there's a wonderful opportunity ahead, but they should not be discouraged because of the challenges confronting them, because when you look at the lack of health care and the problems that may confront you as a result of some serious illness, taking the time to make certain you get it and to go through whatever hurdles you have to get through, I think is worthwhile.
Oh, plus the fact that legal residents and citizens can be fined
Yeah,
afterwards.
yes.
So that's quite the incentive. MC311, recently you were there celebrating yet another cake, 2 millionth call. 1 million county residents approximately, and the center has already received 2 million requests for service.
That's amazing. It's something that I initiated and I campaigned on when I was running for office, and I think people didn't fully understand the necessity and the challenges that our citizens face as a result of trying to work through the maze of county agencies and go through the number of people that they had to get to. I decided that, hey, you know, there's a better system that's out there. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. 311 can help. What we need to do is find the resources and reorganize it in such a way that all you have to do is call one number, 311, and get all of the answers that you need as it relates to county government programs and services. It has worked remarkably well. 2 million calls, and that's a huge number. And my anticipation is that it will continue to be a source of access for our residents, and that we will continue to make further improvements to make sure that they get the answers and responses they need.
2 initiatives from, well, congratulations on that, from the Department of Transportation. Number 1, be active, take Zumba, whatever else, to stay active during the months of the winter. But also the new senior transportation initiative to the senior centers. What is the ultimate goal?
The ultimate goal is to make certain that every senior who wants to avail themselves of the service of the county will have the ability to do so, and that we will help with the transportation that they need in order to get there. This is important for their independence, for their comfort, for their convenience, for their health, and the county should make the resources available and allow them to get to those centers. In addition to going to the senior centers, we've also enhanced the activity buses so they could go on different activities throughout the year as well. It really has been welcome news for our seniors. A lot of homeborn seniors now can get out, enjoy the many facilities that we have, and meet their friends and neighbors, and to be supportive in a way that I think the county can assist in.
And let me tell you, those senior centers are happening.
Oh, yeah.
They're a whole lot of fun. Well, Mr. Leggett, thank you for joining us today. We'll see you next month, and good luck with that operating budget.
Good luck when you move in with your son. You'll enjoy.
We'll see about that. And on that note, we close this episode of One-on-One with Montgomery County Executive Ike Leggett. Always reminding you that for any information, everything that we talked on the show today, you can visit our website, montgomerycountymd.gov. Thank you for watching.
I'm home and I love it. I'm home where I belong. I'm home and I love it. I'm home where I belong.
It's always nice to come home. But these days, many Americans are at risk of foreclosure and losing their homes. Making Home Affordable is a free program from the U.S. government that has already helped over 1 million struggling homeowners like these. And we want to help you.
I'm home. I'm home. And I love it. I'm home. I'm home.
Find out now what your options are. Go to makinghomeaffordable.gov or call 1-888-995-HOPE. The sooner you act, the better chance we can help you.
I'm home. I'm home where I belong.